We like to imagine that human beings are noble, rational, and fundamentally good. We like to believe that we know who we are, that we understand our own intentions, and that we would always choose the right path when darkness rises. But the truth is far more complicated. Human nature is not a shining crystal we hold up to the light. It is a deep abyss, layered with instincts, shadows, contradictions, impulses, and unspoken desires we spend our entire lives trying to hide. And today, we descend into that abyss together, not to judge it, not to fear it, but to finally understand it. Because only by confronting the truths we avoid can we reclaim power over who we truly are. So listen closely. Here are 7 brutal truths about human nature, truths most people will never admit, because doing so forces them to face the parts of themselves they keep buried. The first brutal truth is this: people care far more about themselves than they care about you. No matter how kind someone appears, no matter how much they claim to prioritize others, humans are wired for self-preservation. This is not cruelty, it is biology. When resources are scarce, survival instincts replace empathy. When pride is threatened, defensiveness replaces honesty. Even in relationships, people often give only to receive. We form friendships that make us feel valued. We love people who validate our identity. We help others because doing so reinforces the story we tell ourselves about being good. And while genuine compassion exists, the truth is simple. Most people will only show up when it benefits them emotionally, socially, or materially. This is why expectations destroy more relationships than betrayal itself. We assume people will prioritize us the way we prioritize them, and when reality fails to match that expectation, we feel abandoned. But it wasn't abandonment. It was simply human nature playing out exactly as it always has. When you learn to see this clearly, you stop taking it personally. You stop begging for reciprocity. You start choosing connections that are real, not idealized. And that is where peace begins. The second brutal truth is this: people judge you instantly and unconsciously. We like to think we're open-minded, logical, and objective. But in reality, the human brain is a prediction machine relying on stereotypes, biases, and shortcuts to navigate the world. Someone judges you before you speak a single word based on your face, your posture, your voice, your energy, your confidence. In less than a second, they decide whether you're weak or strong, safe or threatening, attractive or forgettable, someone to respect or someone to dismiss. And here's the darkest part. First impressions rarely change. We are prisoners of the initial image others form of us, and we do the same to them. We like to believe we see the real person, but what we see is filtered through our fears, insecurities, and experiences. This truth isn't meant to make you paranoid, it's meant to empower you. Because once you understand how quickly people judge, you stop trying to convince everyone to like you. You realize that some minds were closed before you even entered the room. And you learn to focus on presence, your voice, your posture, your energy, because these speak louder than the words you use to explain yourself. The third brutal truth: most people do not want the truth, they want comfort. We tell ourselves that honesty is important, that we value truth above all else. But the reality is that truth threatens our identity, our worldview, and our sense of order. When confronted with uncomfortable information, people reject it, distort it, or ignore it. We cling to beliefs that protect our ego, not beliefs that reflect reality. We choose relationships that tell us what we want to hear, not what we need to hear. We surround ourselves with people who validate our illusions because illusions are softer than facts. This is why self-awareness is so rare. To know yourself requires a willingness to see your flaws, contradictions, and weaknesses without running away. But the average person will always choose psychological comfort over psychological clarity. If you are someone who chooses truth, real truth, you will feel alone more often than not, but you will also be free. because nothing is more powerful than seeing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. The fourth brutal truth: people are far more influenced by fear than by logic. Fear is older than language, older than reason, older than civilization. It is the most ancient system in the human brain. We evolved to survive danger, not to evaluate facts. This is why fear spreads faster than information. Why panic overrides common sense. Why people cling to the familiar even when the familiar is killing them. Fear makes humans predictable. It pushes them into groups. It silences individuality. It convinces them to accept lies that promise protection rather than truths that require courage. And the darkest part? We are often not afraid of the world, we are afraid of ourselves, afraid of our potential, afraid of our desires, afraid of failing, afraid of being seen. When you learn to control fear, not eliminate it, but ride it like a wave, you become someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who cannot be intimidated, someone who chooses action instead of avoidance, and that is a rare type of strength. The fifth brutal truth: humans crave validation more than happiness. We pretend we want success, peace, love, growth. But beneath all of it is a hunger to be seen, accepted, and approved of. Many chase careers not for passion, but for applause. Many seek relationships not for connection, but for identity. Many shape their personality around what they think others will admire. The human ego is fragile, desperate, constantly measuring itself against others, but the pursuit of validation is a bottomless pit. The more you feed it, the emptier you feel, because external approval can never fill an internal void. True confidence comes not from being admired, but from being aligned with who you are, even when no one is watching. And that kind of confidence terrifies people because it requires you to stop performing and start living. The sixth brutal truth: people avoid responsibility because responsibility exposes them. When you take responsibility, you lose excuses. You lose the ability to blame the world. You lose the comfort of victimhood. And for many, that is unbearable. So instead, they hide behind distraction, denial, procrastination, and self-sabotage. It's easier to blame circumstances than to face your own potential. It is easier to say, "I can't," than to say, "I'm afraid." Responsibility is painful, but it is also the doorway to self-respect. Every time you choose accountability, you grow. Every time you confront your own patterns, you evolve. And every time you take ownership of your life, you reclaim power that fear once stole from you. And finally, the seventh brutal truth: people don't change unless something forces them to. We like to believe in self-improvement, reinvention, transformation. And while these things are real, they rarely happen voluntarily. Humans cling to patterns until those patterns collapse. We stay in toxic relationships until the pain becomes unbearable. We stay in dead-end jobs until something breaks. We repeat the same emotional cycles until life forces a confrontation. Change is not born from comfort, it is born from crisis. But here lies the hidden opportunity. If you choose to change before the crisis, you evolve faster than everyone around you. You grow without destruction. You rise without burning down your life. This is the highest form of strength, not reacting to life, but leading it. These 7 truths are not meant to make you cynical. They are meant to make you aware, because awareness is freedom. When you understand human nature, your own and others, you stop expecting perfection. You stop seeking approval. You stop living blindly. Instead, you see clearly. You choose wisely. You rise above the games people play. And you become someone who cannot be manipulated by the very forces that control most of the world. This is Mind Abyss, and this is only the beginning. Dive deeper with us. The truth is dark, but it will set you free.